Hey everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus, playing some Mono Red Freebird here. This list is a little bit of a twist. This is brought to you by one of the local players at my local game shop, ICG. And basically, his name is Jeremy Richmond, and his innovation is 4 copies of Cindervines on the sideboard. This list isn't exactly his. This is an amalgamation of his list and some stuff that I've seen online. But 4 copies of Cindervines, along with 4 Stomping Ground, 4 Rootbound Crag to cast them out of your sideboard, along with things like Shrine of Burning Rage and Hazoret against graveyard-based decks or graveyard hate-based things trying to disrupt your Arclight Phoenixes and Bedlam Revelers. You got some Blood Moons here. Take advantage of those gritty mana bases here in Modern. A couple Surgical Extractions, because while graveyard decks are somewhat on the downtick right now, they are still kind of a major force in the format. Beyond that, you've got your usual 4 copies of Swiftspear, 4 copies of Soulscar Mage, some Manamorphoses, Lay Up the Stages, Faithless Lootings to pitch your Arclight Phoenixes, and then your burn package is Gut Shots, Forked Bolts, Lava Spikes, and Lightning Bolts. So, one thing notable in this list, no copies of Lava Axe or any additional things like that, so we'll see if that comes back to bite us at all. Beyond that, it's just kind of your typical Mono Red Phoenix list. It's been a minute since we played some Mono Red Phoenix, so I figured we'd give it a spin for a couple matches tonight. And, as always, if you're new to the channel or you like what you're seeing, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, and leaving a constructive comment down below. Alright, let's hop into some 2-man queues. See how this goes. So it's been a minute since we played some Mono Red Phoenix. Trying to think the last time we even played Phoenix. Probably since before we started Burn Month, I think. So, see how that goes. Come on, Q, let's fire up. Should probably rename the deck while we're waiting. Cindervines. So this morning we did a donation deck, if you want to check that out, by Foz. It was his version of Boros Burn in a competitive league. As always, if you like to see your deck played, we have a couple different donation options. Just go to the main channel page here on YouTube. There's a donation deck list button. Feel free to hit that. $5 gets you some 2-man queues like we're doing right now with this Mono Red Phoenix list. $8 gets you a friendly league, and $12 gets you a competitive league. And right now we're waiting on the queue to fire. A little bit of a slow afternoon, I suppose. Maybe we'll just do this. Go to open play, tournament practice. Fire up that. Hope everyone's having a great afternoon. Enjoying a couple of days off myself, so off today, off tomorrow. Was considering going to an MCQ down in Pittsburgh tomorrow, but I think I'm just gonna kind of take it easy and chill and do some stuff around here, do some more streams, continue with Burn Month here. We've got about another 14-15 days of Burn Month left. Beyond that, like, we've still got some matchups to do, some card discussions and such. And then beyond that, the Esper month will be starting up in June. I will still continue doing Burn content, as always, on this channel. It'll be a little less focused on Burn. We'll just be playing matches and stuff instead of doing in-depth detail stuff. But we still be playing Burn on the channel. It's just someone graciously donated for us to do. Don't think we can keep the 4-lander. And yeah, sounds pretty good. Especially if we see another land on top. This hand is amazing. I like Manamorphose, but I really like hitting a second land drop. Name of Living End. They better be on a Living End deck, but doesn't look like it. Starry Swift Spear. So next turn could be pretty good, as long as our opponent doesn't have targets me. All right. Interesting. So some style of drop our opponent to 7 on turn 2. Seems pretty legit, right? Okay, so definitely some type of War Prison deck. Our opponent concedes the game. So, War Prison. Definitely want the 4 copies of Cindervines. 2 Shrines. Just cut the fork bolts here. Bedlam, that. Cut 1 arc light. Cut a gut shot. Definitely want ways to kind of pressure them. Sand isn't great, but I still think we keep it. We still have like light up the stage on 2, outside of them having damping sphere. Okay. Sure. Probably take light up the stage here. Don't suspect you'd want to take Arclight Phoenix. Not Arclight, Lava Spike. Seemed kind of silly. One thing we are kind of missing in this version is the extra like discard outlets that Tyler's version had. Looting's a nice one here. I mean, I guess our opponent could whir for Grafdigger's Cage here if they really want to stop the combo. Combo being Arclight Phoenix. So pitch that, play a land, play a Swift Spear, play this Lava Spike. Turn 3, attacking for 5. Not terrible. One, two, three, four, five, six. Does make the Cindervines playing a little bit worse, especially if their last card is Whir. Make it harder to fight through that. Welding jar right there. Do we have a bridge in our future? Alright, fair enough. And you're dead, friend? Alright. Back to Q and Q now that people are actually playing it again. Sounds pretty good. So, friendly reminder, don't forget to check out our Discord channel. The link is down below the stream here. got a couple different discussion groups there. Going to get one up for Phoneix decks. I'll currently have one for the general chat, blue-white control, and burn. So some type of blue-white X deck. Alright, so do this. Do this. Pitch Phoneix, pitch. Possible I should have held on to JK. So it doesn't look like they have any bolts. So we effectively killed them on turn 3 here. So Bedlam Reveler's out. 1 or 2 copies of Arclight Phoneix out. Cindervines, get a couple of those in. Shrines of Burning Rage. Hazarets aren't quite as good in this version of the matchup. Blood Moon can occasionally be good against them. I know Jeremy is not a huge fan of Blood Moon. Still on the sideboard, he says it's too slow. But to me, I think Blood Moon's like the perfect kind of card to kind of get some people. Like, the more cards you have that they have to answer, the more difficult it is for the control deck to win the matchup. Like, Bedlam Reveler's a great card, and if it resolves, it's great. But they generally have Graveyard Hate and counter spells, which makes it, you know, turn 3, turn 4, sorcery speed, this is my turn, tap out, feel pretty bad. Hazoret, like, Hazoret requires Path to Exile. Obviously, Graveyard Hate isn't very good against it, or a counterspell. So Hazoret, you can have the same argument with Hazoret as you have with Bedlam Reveler, but I mean, it's a pretty good hand. So what else do I pitch here? So we're 13 cards in our deck, but didn't draw land. Seems pretty rough. First, that's an interesting one. I've had to spew so much value because we were missing land drops. Meant to attack with Swiftspear here. That was a punt that's going to come back to bite us. It's too far behind this game. Alright, so we know they have Rip. That's their main version of Graveyard Interaction. I think we can just bring in Cindervines and kind of work around it a little bit. Keeps their hand. Yeah, shouldn't just be firing off bolts willy-nilly yet. Definitely very heavy on the Planeswalkers. Seriously? Your deck's running... seems... real loose. Arclight Phoenix is not... Nope. Rootbound Crag. Arclight Phoenix was put to the bottom of the group yard here. So we have one more draw step to hit something. You have a Purge. Don't know how I feel about this tap out version of Control. Seems interesting in that matchup, but May not have taken the best route to try to win either. Could we have done differently? As Space Marine has noted many times, if you want to build a deck to beat Phoneix, you can build a deck to beat Phoneix. So, not surprising that Blue-White's coming with Purges and Rest in Pieces and Path to Exiles. But the Planeswalker, the Saheeli package was interesting. Like, I've seen not Tezzeret, Little Teferi in the deck before. I don't think I've seen Saheeli in any of the blue-white builds yet. But, I mean, that's also potentially tech that, Phoneix could adopt. I don't know that it's that strong, but it's certainly a sideboard option, along with, like, Shrine of Burning Rage, and Blood Moon, and other 3-mana cards that can really impact certain matchups. So, yeah, this hand's just a pretty solid aggro curve, even being on the draw. Alright, so Simian Spirit Guide. Am I seriously about to get flippin' Chalice on one? Alright. Mono Red Prison, gotcha. Cindervines. In. Gut Shots. Out. That was a very quick and efficient game for our opponent. Turn 1. Simian Spirit God, shall us go? Mono Red Prison, probably not the best matchup in the world for Phoneix here. Delightful. So they pitch a Chalice, which probably means they have another Chalice. Pass turn. Cindervines, go. Legion Warbus. Sure. Yep, seems about right. Yeah, I remembered. I remembered it being in play. Second too late. Man, a monkey, go. What you got over there, friend? Yep. Missed a point of damage there in the hopes of hitting a series of spells to get our second Phoenix back. Opponent with yet another Aberrate, of course. We've already burned through 2 Morphoses, which makes it a little bit harder, actually very hard, to chain through enough spells to win. Okay. Karn the Great Creator. Explains why they kept their thing back. I guess in the lattice, sure. There's no point in time where we can use that activated ability, so here's hoping we hit something useful here. Of course, all my gut shots are on the sideboard. Getting that 6/6 would be pretty rough. Of course. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the lock. Alright, let's go ahead and fire up one more match with Phoneix here. See what happens. So far, I mean, blue-white control has been a rough matchup for Phoneix lately, and mono-red prison is a rough matchup just because Chalice on 1 is so devastating in so many ways. So, but just seems like both Burn and Phoneix have had some rough, mono-red Phoneix have had some rough outings the last couple of times we've played each of the decks. Like, I guess they both kind of suffer from the same problems, but the fact that they're somewhat weak to Chalice, the fact that, I don't know. I want to say the format's passing by either deck. It just seems like there's a lot more stuff that's not very friendly to the strategies right now. Not quite sure what to put on it. Like, the Tron decks have kind of receded again with the London Mulligan rule not being into effect right now. I don't know. A lot of these leagues were going like 2-3, 3-2. Just seems to be on the edge of doing very, very well. Come on. Fire up one more match. Hopefully we'll get something interesting in the practice room. This hand's pretty good. Well, I'm not playing just Burn this month, Tyler. The vast majority of the month is Burn, but not the entire month. That's just like next month, I'm not going to be playing only Esper Control. Besides, Mono Red, Phoenix, and Burn are very close cousins, if nothing else. They do share a lot of the same elements. So... Teamer Escape Shift? Of course we draw another... I was just taking a boatload of damage. Alright, so Teamer Shift. Definitely interested in the Blood Moons. Don't think they have a ton of room for Graveyard Hate, so I think I'll shave, like, the 2 Revelers and 1 Fork Bolt. Gutshot's not great, but it is important to have multiple spells that trigger turn 2 Phoenixes if you're able to discard them. So, how are you doing today, Tyler? Yeah, turn 3 Blood Moon's pretty decent. Be nice to hit a Faithless Looting into a couple of birds, but... See if they even bother trying to play around Blood Moon here. O'Doyle, I'm not saying it's the theory of it isn't good. I was simply saying that it's not good enough for Modern right now. Modern is too fast a format. Just like you're relying on a creature that has to come into play on turn 2 and attack on turn 3 to get any value. And that's very unlikely with the removal and stuff in Modern right now. Like if you untap with it, it's probably fantastic. But the odds of untapping with it are so unlikely that this was like the one draw that punishes us for how we sequence this. It's the only shell the card is viable in was the Rakdos thing that I kind of described to you. But neither one of those decks are good right now. Is the problem? Like that's the issue with the card. Is it's just not. It's not even saying play in standard, and standard the removal's a lot worse. The problem is it's not. The thing with burn is all of the creatures that are good in burn have haste or some type of trigger attached to them. They have some style of Eidolon has a trigger. Like the only card we play that requires you to untap that's good is I'm about to get hit by a Pulse of Marasa. Looks that way. We can put our opponent to 1. Now, Zoo might be more reasonable, but once again, what creatures are you taking? What cards are you like taking out of the deck? They have Scape Shift. We're dead. Bring to light. Show me Scape Shift. Like, all I was saying is I'm not playing it in a league. It's not. I'm not using 8 tickets to test out a card that no one's trying. Like, they're not even trying it in standard, and standard is. I saw somebody try it in a Samut Sprint deck. I think Hooglin was the one trying it, and even he's kind of gone away from the card. Like, the power of it is good, but it just requires you to untap with it to be good. Sure, I guess we keep his hand. It's pretty terrible. Oh, Spike is not the card we're looking for. This deck tends to need the tends to need its 1-drops to be supremely effective. Gut Shot protects us somewhat from Bolt. Gonna hold on to that one in case we want to trigger a Phoenix next turn. There is no casual league, no. It's just the room I'm in now. Um, the I'm basically playing in casual rooms with this deck to a certain degree. I mean, if you send me a list, I can take a look and run in a couple of games and see how it does. But like I said, I'm thinking Claim to Fame is going to have to be kind of like the catalyst for the deck. Like if you want to start there, I'd start with like Vexing Devil, Claim to Fame, uh, Vexing Devil, Claim to Fame, Goblin Guide, and that stuff. And then kind of build the list from there. No, you can. Okay. I'm in tournament practice rooms. That's the only thing you can play for free. The two-man queues, and all of the actual competitive leagues are not free. So like you're gonna play against every random thing in the book here. I mean, we could try a couple of matches and see what happens, but if you send me a list, I'll have a better idea. I kind of have an idea, but yeah, when you say league, leagues are these things, and the friendly leagues require 8 tickets, and the competitive leagues require 12. The other things are the two-man queue, which I was doing some of this, requires 2 tickets or 20 play points. And then the only other thing is these constructed open plays, where you have like tournament practice and stuff. Anywho, mono red Phoneix splashing Cindervines seems pretty good. Taking a little bit of damage off our lands here and there kind of sucks, but Cindervines kind of shores up a little bit of our weaknesses to Chalice effects and such. In addition to Shrine of Burning Rage, gives us some hate enchantments our opponent has to deal with. The new blue-white stuff is interesting with Teferi and things. O'Doyle, I'll try to brew up a Rakdos list and maybe play a couple matches, but I don't think it's going to end well. It's too fragile and too slow, but I will make an attempt to try to do a couple matches with a Claim to Fame build, because that's about the best I can come up with. Because Zoo, I haven't even looked at Zoo lists, honestly. So, but that's about all I can do, my man. Beyond that, I want to thank everybody for hanging out this afternoon. Was just doing some quick hits with a mono red Phoneix list. This list is largely based on one of the local players. His name is Jeremy Richmond. He's dropped 4 copies of Cindervines into his mono red Phoneix lists. Tends to be pretty good against the burn mirror. You know, something like Eidolon would come in handy, but they really can't play Eidolon with all their spells. Reality, you have 12 green sources between 4 Manamorphoses and the 8 dual lands, so you have 12 sources to cast this with. Beyond that, it's just kind of your stock mono red Phoneix thing. We beat up on some type of horrible Thopter Sword combo deck. We beat up on 4-color Scape Shift, and then lost to blue-white Control, and what was the other deck we played against? Mono Red Prison's a pretty bad matchup for any of these heavy 1-drop spell decks. It's another deck that's kind of on the rise, is Mono Red Prison. So, anywho, I want to thank everybody for hanging out today. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, leaving a constructive comment down below. If you're a regular on the channel, we have a Discord channel now. The link is down below in the description here of the stream, so feel free to check that out. I've been working on that slowly but surely over the last week or so. And beyond that, Doyle, I will try to get a list sometime in the next couple days, but I have another donation deck list from Foz and some other projects I need to get work on and get done on my couple of days off. But I'll try to play a couple quick matches with a Dreadhorde Arcanist build. I'll see what I can do, but I'm not holding out hopes of it breaking the format or anything. So, it's about all I can do for you, man. But, anyways, I want to thank everybody for hanging out. Hope everybody has a great day, and I'll probably be back later with some standard today. But beyond that, this has been John for MTG Nexus. Hope everybody has a great day.